Well, good evening, everybody, and welcome to a quick session. I know it's been a few days, and yes, the videos are still pending on the other machine. I've just been kind of busy with a few unexpected things that have come up. So, tonight's topic is why I got into the business and what inspired me to get into the business of doing computers. Well, first of all, we'll start out as originally I wanted to be a technology coordinator for like a school district. And the only thing that stopped me was I would need a master's degree for sure. And no way on God's green earth would I have the patience or the money to go through all that, or the kind of time frame to do it in a reasonable amount of time. So that was out of the question, but I still kind of wasn't quite sure at the point once I got out of high school what I wanted to do. So basically, you look at it from the religious points, God has certain plans for what you do in life, and like 5 years ago, I never would imagine that I'd have this office. And even when I first moved in here back in March of 2019, I had the intent of having a full-blown store, being open, being here 5 days a week from like 9 in the morning until 5 at night, just running a regular retail shop. But the interesting thing is, God kind of put a damper on that part, not because He doesn't want me to succeed, but that was never His. That's not what He had in mind for me when I moved in here. He had different ideas up his sleeve what I'd be doing here. Yeah, I still get a lot of people that come in here and do conduct business, but it's more. I'm still figuring out what He wants me to do as far as. Because I've made so many bad moves when it comes to interceding what God wanted me to do. Sometimes I never really listened to Him that closely, and sometimes I stepped out of faith, and sometimes certain things happen for a reason. And I have to admit, I have a lot of faults with my relationship with God. I'm not perfect when it comes to it. And sometimes I disobey His commands and what He has in store. And sometimes it's very punishable if you disobey God and the Holy Spirit. But eventually, I need to sit down and get back in the faith and get back on track with what He wanted, what He intended for me to do. Because there's a few times since March that I wanted to pull out of here and quit, but that wasn't part of God's plan for me to pack up and move. Not yet, anyway. It just kind of revealed to me that you're not done here yet. You got work. You got work to do. Not that I want to pull out of here, but it just things kind of got tough for a while with certain situations that were going on, and God only gives you what you can handle. He doesn't dish out anything that you can't handle. That was one realization I came to. It's just kind of, you just you gotta open your heart. You gotta truly listen to what God is telling you. Because if you step out of faith and you kind of twist things around and stuff like that, being rebuked is one of the hardest things to go through, especially if you get struck down on your knees and you get a sting across the heart. And you realize at that point that you've really messed up. You know, Jesus loves you, and that, but you gotta stay in faith with Him. You gotta surrender yourself to Jesus. You can't live in this the incarnate flesh. God will provide everything you need, but you gotta be faithful to Him at the same time. You can't be off having affairs and drinking until you're so drunk that you can't see straight. Shouldn't be doing stuff like that. You shouldn't have false idols. Shouldn't be worshiping statues and idolatry. You gotta trust in God. You gotta trust in Jesus Christ. You gotta get fully immersed in the Holy Spirit, and just God does a lot of beautiful things, and He gives everybody a lot of opportunities in life to really do something spectacular. And if you do it all according to plan, it's just not only do you have a good feeling, but you get closer to God. You just gotta thank God for all your blessings that you've received, or the people that He sent you. Sometimes you're puzzled, like, why do certain people come into your life at certain times? But the thing is, He sends them for a reason, because either He wants to show you something, or you're supposed to teach somebody either a lesson or help them through a rough time. Sometimes they're only there for a season. Sometimes they're there for a lifetime. And sometimes even when things end badly and you kick yourself wondering why things went the way they did. The thing you gotta remember is sometimes, without even your acknowledgement, you may have completed what God had in store for you at the time. And sometimes you have a falling out with somebody. And yes, I've had many fallings out with different people. And sometimes you sit there and scratch your head afterwards thinking, what happened? Why did I do some of the disgusting things that I've done to a person? And you just think to yourself, why? Why would I treat somebody like crap when they did all sorts of things for you? Well, why would I do such a horrible thing? And that particular subject that I kind of have a very hard time comprehending that part of it. Typically, I don't like to treat people like that. And you sit and think about it after a while, and you think, why in the world would I do that? But that's sometimes it's just kind of. And the thing is, you can't let the devil put fear in you either. It's like even during this whole COVID time, where they wanted everybody to live in fear, and they wanted you to worship COVID-19, worship facial masks and hand sanitizer and toilet paper and inanimate objects and social distancing. And no, you shouldn't sit and worship that stuff. That's all satanic idolatry. And you shouldn't sit and worship your senators. And your senators are working for the American, for the people. The people don't work for the senators or the governors of these states. You people are the ones that put them in the office. They work for you. And if they're not doing their jobs, then they need to be impeached and appoint somebody into the governor's office or the mayor's office that can actually do their job efficiently and not abuse their powers. A lot of people forget that they don't have to put up with somebody that has abuse of power like that, where they just take over and try to shut everybody down and ruin everybody. And the other thing is, it's when it comes to election time, you have the opportunity to vote the right person in, but sometimes people don't. They don't do their research. They don't do their homework. They don't listen to God's intuition on who to vote for. It's not because you should vote for one party or the other. You gotta vote for somebody that's got the right Christian morals. You can't vote somebody in because they give you money or they give you false promises or idolatry or just give you things because they want your popularity or they want your support. Doesn't matter who you vote in. I'm not bringing up either side in this matter, but when you vote people in, you gotta vote them in for one main reason. It's not either liberal or conservative matter, but it's as long as they got the right Christian morals and if they got the ethics and integrity to do what's right for the American people, and not one that's going to sell you out and do demonic things against the will of the American people. And it's hard to describe, but basically, even when it comes to voting this year for the 2020 presidential election, pray to God that you make the right choice. If you do vote, pray and get the right candidate in. Because if you get the wrong one in, all your religious freedoms will go down the drain. All your free speech will go down the drain. Your right to bear arms will disappear. And so a lot of other. And a lot of people don't realize that. And there's a few out there that I know that know a lot more about it than I am. I'm not an expert in politics. I just tend to study up on a lot of stuff. In between the Florida Tampa Bay Church and the Jonathan Shuttlesworth, it's got a lot of interesting content on YouTube on what's going on with it. This whole COVID thing is just a big political propagandist. I was watching a video the other day that was talking about stuff with Twitter and that they're checking or fact checking Trump's tweets and that. The thing is, why should everybody on that's trying to expose the truth or expose what's going on get silenced? Whoever gave you the authority to allow that to happen, where somebody gets silenced for exposing what's going on. As far as I know, that goes against the amendments. That goes against free speech when you silence somebody because they're telling the truth. So yeah, it's okay to tell propagandist lies about what's going on in the media, but when you try to tell the truth or blow the whistle on somebody or an organization that's part of the propaganda, yet they get punished, but yet those that spread fake news don't get punished. Like CNN and Fox and CBS and ABC and NBC, and yeah, they could get away with spreading propaganda, but yet you try to tell the truth, you can't tell the truth because you get terminated. Well, what kind of a policy is that? I say it's time to join the National Rifle Association and bear arms and defend your. So it's like the Black Lives Matter issue. That's not even about racial equality at all. It's a communistic terrorist group organization that's bombs and maims and loots and destroys properties and seizes, tries to defund police departments and stuff like that. Bull crap. They don't. That whole organization, Black Lives Matters, should be shut down. You don't need communism here in the United States. That's just a bunch of bull. It's not even about Black lives or anything to do with racial equality at all. It's just ulterior motive to this, and these people are all paid to act like a bunch of banshees and do crap like they have been doing. I know I should have sympathy for all these propagandist things, but I don't have sympathy for those that decide to do that kind of stuff, and I don't have sympathy for the World Health Organization, the WHO, the United Nations, Bill Gates. I have no sympathy for those people. The Rockefeller Foundation, I have no sympathy for. I have no sympathy for the World Health or the Green or the Climate Control Party or Shriners, or I have no respect for people like that because they're trying to destroy the globe with their propaganda and their dictator communistic mindset thinking. I know it's hard to all take in at once, but it is what it is, and there is something you can do about it. Get back in the faith of Jesus, and praying is the most powerful weapon of all time. I suggest using it. And that's as much as I got to say. Thank you as always for watching. And God bless everybody. Stay safe. We'll see you next time.